Jacksonville Jaguars are inviting you to hear from new head coach Liam Coen at a free fan event tonight starting at 6 down in the bank. To secure your free ticket in advance, visit jaguars.com/Coach Coen. It's 70 degrees at 12 o'clock time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl. Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Ladies, I have breaking news, but it has nothing to do with football. Is that okay?
Yeah.
The new Armada Stadium will be built on Jacksonville's east side.
Oh, wow. That is massive breaking news. Let's go. That's a round of applause right there, RJ. Come on now. Let's
that's
go.
exciting. We obviously know
that is super exciting.
That neck of the woods, as far as Jacksonville is concerned, that neighborhood needs some development and some growth. And so there we go. There's going to be the new stadium.
And I remember when Urban was out there grilling.
Yes. And Trevor took a golf cart out there. I think that was after Urban too. So we were going to get some grills going out there. I love it. Other breaking news that the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures is still having fun post Jaguars today. Lauren, did you hear that our lovely co-host has a new name?
Yes.
She
does not want that.
Her new name is Press Taylor Dahl. Taylor, sorry, we had to lead.
Sherwood. What's his name?
Sherwood is his real name, but we had to lead the program with that because the text line is still cracking up right now, and they feel so bad for you.
I would honestly, and this is probably not what most people would say, I'd rather that than people call me Taylor Swift. Like, that absolutely drives me insane when people are like, I'm like, oh, my name's Taylor Swift. No, I would be a billionaire. I would be on a plane somewhere, a jet.
But you do like Taylor McGregor. So if
yes,
ever
I love
anyone
Taylor McGregor.
accidentally calls you
Compare
Taylor
me to her.
McGregor,
Yeah.
you'll be like, all right, that's perfectly fine.
Can I read you guys something really quick? And this is for Gator fans here that will enjoy this. So the SEC Unfiltered, which we know our friend Cole Thompson works for that. They have the top 10 most exciting players of 2025. On that list includes the DJ Lagway, which
they're predicting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think anybody's surprised about that. No. Obviously, when we saw Lagway and what we did this last year, he's a very thrilling player to watch, and it does make Gator fans exciting. But I wanted to go through some of this list because there's a few obvious on here. I think Arch Manning's an obvious one. People are really excited to see Arch. Some people were calling for Arch already.
Yeah, he's been waiting in the wings for 2 years now.
Yes. Do you think by the way, after the season, do you think he'll play a season and enter the draft? They said they may make an exception for him.
I think it depends. I don't think they'd make well, he could enter the draft because this would be his third year.
Yeah.
But I would say it obviously all depends on how he plays because I think a lot of people expected Quinn Ewers to enter the draft.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah,
Carson Beck to enter the draft.
I appreciate his dedication, at least at this juncture, to being a 4-year college student and being a throwback like his uncles and his father.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Do you think it will matter who's picking first?
Because the Mannings have had a history of stuff like that. I don't know that he'll go first, so this may be a moot point, a moot conversation, because we had this conversation with Shedeur Sanders, and now I don't know that Shedeur is going first overall. So I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves with that narrative.
It is.
But at the end of the day...
And we've done it with so many quarterbacks now. We're like, he's going to pull a Manning. Like, okay. We've seen Eli do it, and that's about it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're stoked to go first overall in the NFL draft. That is a huge thing on your resume for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it comes with a lot of money, too.
Yeah. I'll go through some of these other ones. I think a lot of these are ones we'd probably all agree with. Yes, DJ Lagway, Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers.
Oh, my gosh, I love him.
Me too. He's so much fun to watch. There's actually 2 Gamecocks on this list. Him and Dylan Stewart are both on this list. Ryan Williams, that's a very obvious one, too.
Jeremiah Smith should be on this list.
He's actually not, though.
Jeremiah Smith is not on this list? He's not in the SEC.
Yes,
that's right.
Mia's guys on this list. Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be surprised. Frank Frangie sat here on the Superstation yesterday, or rather over at Cantina Rio on the JU campus, because I was over there doing some social stuff for them. He said he thinks Garrett Nussmeier is going to be the best quarterback in the country. So welcome aboard the Nuss bus, Franz fan. We've been here. We've been hanging out on the bus.
We also have Auburn's Cam Coleman. Obviously, that's the wide receiver at Auburn. And then Diego Pavia is another one we've talked about a lot. Colin Simmons at Texas.
30 years old by that point, but,
Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy. We love Diego.
Colin Simmons at Texas, John Matter. And then, who am I missing? Oh, and then Dylan Stewart. Oh, I did say him. So it is. I feel like most of these names are ones we've talked about already this year, but there are a couple more fresh faces, at least for me, when it comes to guys to look forward to in the SEC. But it is interesting when you look at this because there's 2 Gamecocks, there's 2 Longhorns, and then we have a LSU, a Bama, a Vandy. I don't know if a year ago people would have told us that we were talking about Vanderbilt, but Pavia was fantastic to watch also. We talked about him a lot on the show. So I love seeing these lists because it makes me already start thinking about college football of next year of guys to kind of look forward to and watching. But that list just popped up and I thought it was interesting.
It is fun. No Georgia Bulldogs on that list.
No Bulldogs.
And so that's a huge thing because I don't know the last time that we've been able to talk about a season and not talk about a skill player for the University of Georgia and or the quarterback as well. Since you brought up football, I saw today that the Florida football team announced their spring dates. Mm-hmm. We knew the date of the spring game, the orange and blue game. That'll be Saturday, April 12th at 1 p.m. My only complaint is that the baseball game in Gainesville that day for the Florida baseball team is not until 7:30. So last year and the past couple seasons, we've double dipped and gone to the spring game and then immediately to the baseball game. Now there's a huge lag in between, so I don't know if we'll do that. But either way, that'll be Saturday, April 12th at 1 p.m. And then that's the third of the 3 scrimmages. The other scrimmages are March 29th and April 5th. And the spring season kicks off on March 6th. So since you brought up college football, that's when you're going to start right before the players is when you're going to start to get word of how Lagway looks, and certainly those young guys and Jaden Baugh.
Jaden Baugh was the MVP of the spring game. And then honestly it bled into the season.
Lauren had that one first.
I told you dang Baugh.
Run the dang ball is right. I told you my dad and I looked at each other the first moment he touched the ball in Gainesville, and we were like, who is that? And there was a sweet lady in front of me who had her roster printed out and highlighted.
I love that so much.
And I just had mine on my phone, but I felt like I'm doing a disservice to my alma mater. I didn't print out and highlight mine. So next year or this year,
printing and highlighting.
I'm 100% printing and highlighting. But yeah, when it comes to Press Taylor, doll. Circling back
That's
to Press
a drop,
Taylor.
RJ.
Should I change my Twitter name?
Yes. I do feel like Bears fans will get mad at you. Jags fans will laugh at you if you were to do that because obviously Jaguar Nation is glad Press Taylor's gone. Bear Nation, I don't think too thrilled that Press Taylor's going to be the passing game coordinator for Chicago and Caleb Williams. However, he won't be calling the plays, so at least there's that. But I do think that Press Taylor right now carries a little bit of a stigma with him, and that is an obsolete, kind of outdated offense.
Yeah, and I will say, thank God he's not calling. Like, if it was offensive coordinator, even though our offensive coordinator in Chicago is not going to be calling plays either, it's going to be Ben Johnson, obviously. So thank goodness that it's not that, because I honestly would be like, I don't want to watch this next year if I had to watch him calling plays. I will say, I don't think, I hear everyone's laughing, like the amount of things I got tagged in and text of like, haha, have fun with that, like Press Taylor. Bears fans aren't there at all. Like, most Bears fans are like, okay, but he's not the offensive coordinator. He's not calling plays. Honestly, when he was the passing game coordinator, he won the Super Bowl in Philly. So that's where Bears fans' minds are, is the last time he held that position, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles went to the Super Bowl. So I do think their mind is more so there.
And maybe taking off the calling of the plays will help him get back to those creative play calling ways.
Yeah, because he was a big part of the Philly special. And so more people are clinging on to that than their time in Jacksonville. Honestly, a lot of people more so on that side of Twitter have been like, okay, maybe the problem's Trevor and not Press. And they're more so there than they are criticizing Press already.
Is there a little bit of a rivalry, by the way, between the Jags and the Bears
all
now?
Of a sudden,
we also have a rivalry with the Bucs now, too.
Correct.
So
yeah.
we're finding rivals.
We don't have to like fake a rivalry. Like, the Bears and Jags play once every 4 years, and unless it's the Super Bowl, you're not going to see each other for another 4 years. So it's a weird thing to me. I think this is that time of year where it's like, when the Bears hired Ben Johnson, Jags fans were all in their mentions of like, oh, the only reason he chose you was because Trent's still here. And then Bears fans were like, no, he likes Caleb. And that started. And then the moment that Liam Coen got hired here and the Duval happened, that Bears fans then started going after them. It'll be done in like 2 weeks. Like that's going to be a who cares type of thing. But right now, I think it's because both hired like the top two coaches pretty much, that a lot of people were talking about.
The offensive ones, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And so, outside of probably Vrabel
and Glenn.
Yeah. And so it is funny, though, because I just feel like this is that time of year where people start arguing for like no reason on Twitter.
Of course. And then I said yesterday that I wanted Patrick Graham as a defensive coordinator, and lo and behold, not leaving Las Vegas. Patrick Graham will be staying in Vegas, and he'll be the defensive coordinator and Pete Carroll. I think that's really smart if you're Patrick Graham, because obviously Pete Carroll is a legendary defensive mind, and so you get to work with a guy that also, by the way, if you do really well in 3 years, it's probably not going to be Pete's job.
Yeah.
You might be the guy to then take that over. Hopefully the Raiders have a quarterback. If you're Patrick Graham at that point in time, you can hire a great offensive coordinator. At least that, if I'm him, that's what I think, for the long term.
Right. And I think that it's a division, it's a personnel set that, and if you're Pete, you want to keep the guy who knows the personnel and can best maximize their skill set. And it was if there was one, perhaps bright spot outside of beating the Jaguars for the Las Vegas Raiders this year, it was
us being in Vegas.
Yeah, correct. And then after that, it was their defense with once upon a time when Max Crosby was healthy, when Christian Wilkins was healthy, which I know was not for nearly as long as Raider fans were hoping for. But that's where I think if you're Patrick Graham, you also say it would be really sad that I had those two guys, perennial Pro Bowlers, on the same roster, and I only got to work with them together for 7 games, something like that. So respect to that, to going back and solid stand-up double, ground in, a single right up the middle, if you may, if you're Patrick Graham.
And he heard Helmets and Heels is coming back to Vegas for this upcoming season. Allegiant Stadium is awesome. I will say that from having been there, and I don't know that factors into what a coach is going to do, but since we talked so much about people maybe not taking this job because of the stadium renovations and having to play away, and then the new stadium not coming on board until 2028, wanted to mention that. We do have one more person that's interviewed for the offensive coordinator position, Commanders quarterbacks coach, Tavita Pritchard.
Yes, and somebody who I made some calls this morning and highly, highly respected, not only from the work he did with Jaden Daniels over the last year, working side by side with Cliff Kingsbury and the number 2 overall pick, but also the work he did at Stanford. He was a player under Jim Harbaugh. He coached under David Shaw, highly respected as an offensive coordinator. I really won't put it on him that in terms of personnel, once Christian McCaffrey left and Stanford essentially taking a step back when David Shaw ultimately did part ways with the university. I'm not going to put that on Pritchard because for the most part, his players, people who watch Stanford's offense, they say it still was for the personnel that they had humming on all cylinders. And so it's an exciting name, and I think a trend you're seeing, and I know it's only 2 known names and 2 completed interviews right now between Nate Shieldhouse and Tavita Pritchard, it's that Liam Coen is not afraid to say, I am going to interview not only first-timers, but offensive minds who I believe they are where the league is headed. And I know that is scary, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, for that matter, for many Jaguar fans out there. I know it's scary because you want the veteran guy to pair with a first-time head coach. But ultimately, these are all dart throws. As I said on the Duval Rundown podcast this morning, these are all dart throws. Wouldn't you rather throw the dart at somebody who's new and innovative as opposed to the infield single? Look, I know you just want to get on base, and I respect that. And I do believe Liam Coen will bring enough veteran presence to his staff, even if it's not in one of those primary play caller or high-ranking positions. There will be enough of a veteran presence that I'm not as worried as some in terms of him having people with experience and ensuring that this operation gets off the ground running.
I don't want to just get on base. I want an Oppo taco.
Correct.
That's what I want.
And that's what Tavita Pritchard is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he is.
And I do think that when you there's not often that you see a coaching change at the top and them keep people, and he was one of the people that when it went from Ron Rivera to Dan Quinn decided to keep him, and so that is a positive thing that you want to look at, because when a whole new coaching staff comes in and likes a guy enough to keep them at that, especially a position like this that can get replaced in 1 minute,
right?
That to me is a positive thing to look at.
One thing I do want to hit, Lauren,
and consistency, by the way, that's a little different than what Liam Coen brought to the table.
Right. One thing I do want to hit, because I know our time is a little short before we have to give our old buddy John Alba a call to recount his 2 years he spent working with Liam Coen. Yes, for those of you who don't know, one of my best friends in the entire world. from 2016 to 2018 was working with Liam Coen at Maine. So we're going to catch up with John here in just a little bit. But I do want to play this snippet from Adam Schefter's podcast this morning because it is something I think we'll circle back to a little bit later in the program. But as we begin today's program by hitting the latest and greatest headlines from Jaguarville, here is Adam Schefter on a name to watch in the Jaguars' search for their next general manager.
An MVP candidate. How much of a say is he going to have in the new GM, though? Because it's kind of, I mean, he's got, 5 years of NFL coaching experience, never been a head coach before. That's a pretty big leap to let a first-year head coach who is still a little green, pick the GM that he's going to be paired with.
He's going to be involved in the process. And I think here's a name that we need to have on our radar. I'm not saying he gets the job, but I will say that he's going to be in contention for the job. The Bears assistant general manager, Ian Cunningham. He's going to be a candidate for that Jaguars GM job. Some would say he might be the leading candidate for the Jaguars GM job. I don't know if he's the leading guy or a guy, but he's certainly going to be in the mix and a candidate to become the next head coach or the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Watch that.
Yeah, we've certainly talked about him. Let's check in with John Alba on the other side. We'll circle back to what Adam Schefter just said about Ian Cunningham. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Bone-crushing blows to game-winning goals.
Yes!
Feel the energy on 1010XL.
History!
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, Garber wiggle. Garber Auto Mall is home of the lifetime warranty. Every new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Ford comes with a lifetime warranty. At Garber Auto Mall, your purchase is covered for life. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle. Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, Garber wiggle.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Get more Gators with Dan Hickett and me, Frank Frangie, on all things Gators on 1010XL Gators Podcast, with new episodes every Monday, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
It's a new year at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Cash in this month with thrilling promotions and tournaments, including daily high hands and table games clockwork cash out, giving away $300 cash every 15 minutes and selected weekends at all 3 Best Bet locations. Catch all the excitement in 2025. See all the details and learn the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
The big game is almost here, and Sonny's Barbecue wants you to win a barbecue feast. Text Sonny's to the text line brought to you by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010 for your chance to win. 641-1010.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
This is Dr. George Bari, inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics, and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
Have a group trip or company function soon? Mark Watson here with Hardball Creative. Get busy ordering the t-shirts and other swag you'll need. It's easy with Hardball.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
The Florida Forum welcomes best-selling author and journalist Carl Hiaasen, February 12th. Funds raised go to a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,200 infants and children a year to Wilson Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at thefloridaforum.com or call 202-2886. 202-2886.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School, February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup, put together by Connor and Sam at D1, is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. That is what my good friend, one of my dearest friends in the entire world, John Alba, said to me about 2 months ago when I texted him and said, Liam Coen, next Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, what say you, John? And your response was...
You can't make this stuff up. I said, I believe it. I believe it all the way. Totally plausible.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with John, not only was he also sprung from cages somewhat off Highway 9 in the great state of New Jersey, he now, of course, is a analyst and host on SNY TV. He also co-hosts the Matt Hardy podcast for those of you in the professional wrestling world. But John, once upon a time, was the sports director at ABC Maine up in Bangor. He was also the sideline reporter for all of the Maine Black Bear football broadcasts from 2016 or 2015, technically, to 2018, which meant he overlapped 2 seasons with Liam Coen up at UMaine. And so who better to take a little trip down memory lane than John Alba. So, John, let's start 30,000-foot view. Liam Coen arrives at Maine. What do you remember about his arrival and what he was able to bring offensively to the Black Bears?
I think when I was covering Liam, he was so young and hungry to actually make an impact on the game of college football. You're at the FCS level, you're living in the middle of nowhere. I think he was in his late 20s at the time, and he clearly brought a very modern style of offense to FCS football. And immediately upon him getting his hands on a quarterback, there was a quarterback named Chris Ferguson at the time who could actually sling the ball a little bit. you saw the Black Bears offense really start to open up the field. And I really enjoyed watching that offense develop over his tenure there. And it was a heck of a coaching tree that was established there under Joe Harris-Simiak, who is he was just the Rutgers defensive coordinator, and now he is the head coach at UMass. Corey Hefferman was the defensive coordinator, and now he's the University of Miami defensive coordinator. So Liam Coen did come from a really good coaching tree right away there.
John, to begin, if people do not know John Alba, he has seen Bruce Springsteen about 700 times. What number are you actually on, John?
So I am on. I just saw him in September for my 32nd time.
It sounds like you love some Springsteen, but when it comes to Liam Coen, we've had a lot of conversations about his time in Tampa and how he turned or revitalized the run game down there. What was that an importance in the offense also at his time in Maine? Was there a focus on the run game?
Yeah, I mean, there was. The one thing that I think is important for perspective is it's not an apples-to-apples comparison of taking FCS football to the NFL. The talent level is obviously very different. UMaine in particular did a pretty good job recruiting the Northeast, and you got a lot of kids who maybe were just not quite good enough to compete at Rutgers or schools like that, but wanted to have a chance to really shine in FCS. So I think that there was less of a precedence on positional awareness, and it was more, okay, what do I have to work with and what can I utilize? And I think for Liam Coen at the time especially, it was really how do you open up the offense through the air? And that's what you saw a lot of during his time there.
John, when I tell people the most impressive thing to me is that Liam Coen made Will Levis look like a first-round, early-round quarterback. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. What say you?
Yeah, and I think that maybe there could have been some smoke and mirrors there. I think a lot of people would argue that, but that's ultimately something that immediately garnered him some massive credibility points with his reputation, a little bit of a quarterback whisperer, and seeing that it translated successfully to Baker Mayfield, who is a good professional quarterback, but he really flourished under Liam Coen. And I think that if you're looking for someone in Jacksonville to really finally hit the secret sauce with Trevor Lawrence, this is someone who potentially, given his track record of being a quarterback whisperer, gives you that opportunity to do so. Now, there are obviously other factors there. You have to make sure that the other personnel are enveloped in that. We have to see the entirety of the coaching staff that he lays the groundwork with. But there is a track record of success here with opening up the field for quarterback play. And I think Liam Coen has a really good natural high football IQ in order to do so.
John Alba, now with SNY TV, formerly the sideline reporter for the Maine Black Bears broadcast from 2015 to 2018, joining us on the Garber Automall phone line. That's a weird thing for me to say. Who would have thought? John Alba, a former Maine Black Bears sideline reporter, but here we are. As part of your role, John, as the sideline reporter for those broadcasts for 3 seasons, 2 of which were with Liam Coen, you actually had the unique opportunity. You met with Liam at least once a week in the film room, and you shared off the air with me an interesting story this week. If anyone is to ever ask how John Alba was able to do color commentary for a college football game, folks, it was because of Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Liam Coen.
It certainly was. Mike DeVito, the former Jets and Kansas City lineman, was doing color commentary for these ESPN and Fox College sports games at the time. And a couple days before, it might have even been a day before the game, he called out because his wife went into labor. We had no idea she was actually pregnant, but she went into labor. And I was meeting with Liam doing just some film breakdown with him. And I brought up, hey, they want to move me to color commentator. You know, I've watched a lot of football, but I've never played an organized down of college football or high school football or Pee-wee football in my life. And he goes, well, have you played Madden? I said, yeah. He goes, go play Madden tonight. Try to get inside the game. So I spent the next 12 hours playing Madden, and it went pretty well. So I do have a good piece of advice there from Liam Coen that translated well, and I think that speaks to his vibe. He's a very straightforward, casual guy. I think he establishes relationships well. I know a lot of people with the press conference had mixed opinions on, did you win the press conference? Was he goofy? Was he down? I think he's a pretty laid-back guy when it comes to how he presents himself publicly, but he does work hard at establishing relationships, and I think that will be a strong suit for him in Jacksonville.
Yeah, the poor guy's getting roasted quite a bit when it comes to his Duval, but his wife said they're practicing it, so we're good. But John, when we're talking about, we talk a lot when it comes to a head coach and what they can do on the football field, obviously, is a big conversation. And we talk about his relationship with Will Levis and what he did with Will Levis and kind of revitalizing what is Baker Mayfield, even though Baker already had a good season the year before, but he pretty much doubled his touchdowns this year under Liam Coen. What type of relationship and what can you see with him and Trevor Lawrence when it comes to the development that does still need to happen with Trevor?
Again, I really do think if there's anyone who can establish a comfortable relationship with Trevor Lawrence, where Trevor Lawrence doesn't feel like he's being spoken down to, but rather moved along, which I think that's what some of the best coaches successfully do, where they feel like they're pushing a player in a productive manner rather than speaking down to them and coaching them on the surface level in the traditional way that we know it. I think those are the most successful head coaches in 2024 and the most successful mentors. So if it doesn't work with Liam Coen, then I think there are some bigger picture questions that need to be asked there. And I'm not sitting here saying that Liam Coen is going to be the be-all, end-all savior here. There are so many other factors in play, ownership, who he surrounds himself with, what personnel is on the field. But I do believe that in terms of establishing a quality relationship with the quarterback on and off the field, this is one of the better options that you're going to see out there. Just because he's younger, he's going to relate in a more positive, effective manner, I believe.
Tonight is Coach Cohen's first Duval or third Duval, however you want to look at it. Do you think he'll be self-deprecating about the situation that happened earlier this week?
I do. I think so. I think he's pretty self-aware. When you come through the ranks in the modern game and you're moving around every year, every 2 years, you're humbled, right? You're experiencing all these different small-town communities before working your way up to the big stage. And I don't think that you can climb the ladder that quickly in 2025 without having a degree of self-awareness. I think that's very important, especially when everything is on social media. So I really do believe that it's going to be a good personality fit. But as is the case with the NFL, it's as the league turns, right? It's the greatest soap opera in all professional sports outside of NBA free agency. So I truly do believe that there are other factors at play. But I think that from a culture standpoint, this is the type of guy that you want leading a young quarterback into the future.
John, let's wrap with this. I know you alluded to the pretty illustrious coaching tree that's come out of Maine, and it's so funny because as we look ahead to who may be a part of Liam Cohen's first staff, so many people have looked at his ties to the Whipple family because of his time at UMass, obviously his ties to Sean McVay and the Rams coaching tree. But you bring up a great point with Maine, and I know one name that I'm looking at potentially is Nick Charlton, who was the special teams coordinator and the wide receivers coach when Liam was at Maine. He then went on to become the head coach at Maine. He's currently in the Browns organization. Any sense of some of those other guys who perhaps Liam was close with during your time covering that program that perhaps you've now looked back on 6-7 years later and said, wow, look at how he's ascended through the college or NFL coaching ranks, and maybe that's someone who he wants to bring to Jacksonville?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure just how in the weeds they're going to get with Maine, considering it was almost a decade ago for him. It was a decade ago for him. But Nick Charlton's a really interesting name that you bring up because Charlton also very quickly climbed the ladder. And he didn't have the most success as a head coach in college, but he was such a valuable commodity. I believe, if my memory serves me correct, when I first started covering him, he was a special teams coach, and then he ascended from that point. Another guy very much cut from the same cloth as Liam Coen, very conversational, down-to-earth, younger, and I really do believe that, just look no further than the hirings of guys like Ben Johnson, that there is a mold that a lot of these teams are trying to put the best foot forward with, and it's having these younger coaches that players can feel like, okay, this guy sees the game at my level for what it is in 2025. And a guy like Nick Charlton or someone cut from that mold, I think very much would fill out a coaching staff. And like you said, Mia, I mean, look no further than what McVay did in Los Angeles. I think that's your perfect template.
And I don't think there's any question or any reason to ask this, John, but he's got the juice, Liam Coen. Like that's the big thing I keep coming back to. I was told by enough people in NFL circles and at the Miller Electric Center that Shad Khan wanted someone with the juice. And like you just said, it's about being approachable and relatable and seeing the player eye to eye and not speaking down to said player. But it's also about that energy, that infectious nature that we know Sean McVay has. And I'm sure you would argue Liam Coen does as well.
Well, yeah, and this is a big hire for the Cons because this is a hire they got to get right. You only have so much goodwill, and I know it's been somewhat tumultuous over the past few years, and it's the exact opposite of what Urban Meyer was, right? Like, I mean, in every single way possible. And Doug was a little more personable, I think, than Urban was, but this is the complete other side of the spectrum, and it's something that the Con family has to get right and has to show this fan base that, okay, this is the guy, he's young, he's going to make mistakes, but he's got his finger on the pulse of what professional football is in 2025, and he can lead the way forward and prove that Trevor Lawrence was indeed the chosen one with the right guidance.
See, we had him on for 14 minutes. We didn't get too much professional wrestling talk. Look at that. John Alba, thank you as always for joining us, brother man. Again, you can catch him on SNY TV, as our good friend JT Pruitt just put in the MyBookie Digital Studio chat, a self-proclaimed Ken doll. I'm not so sure about that. He is a professional journalist, that is for sure, and we appreciate you going down memory lane with us.
Hey, I really appreciate having me, and I would love to chat again, and thanks for the Springsteen shout, too. I always appreciate that. So.
Mets-Yankees baseball talk. We can't wait for the spring. We will definitely have you on then. And maybe if we have to talk a little pro wrestling. I don't know.
Don't make me talk about Aaron Rodgers, please. Just don't make me talk about Aaron.
We don't need to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, okay. You've got Taylor Dahl here. She's excited that you are potentially freed of having to talk about Aaron Rodgers on SNY this upcoming year. Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
And by the way, John's actually moving today, so we greatly appreciate him making some time. And again, it's a part of Liam Coen's career as we look back at his coaching tenure, and we want to explore all the various tentacles that I'm not doing this for radio effect, folks. I really did text John 2 months ago when it really became clear to me that Liam Coen would be a candidate for this job. I actually visited John. It would have been shortly after Liam departed for Los Angeles. And he was like, please stop saying this. Like, this is not going to happen. And I said, all right. And here we are.
I'd like to know how much money he spent on Springsteen tickets.
You don't want to know.
32.
You don't want to know.
32 concerts. No, I do want to know.
And just all over. Like, It's not like it just when he comes to the city.
Correct.
Like, he travels.
Oh, he came down here. He took me to my first one as an adult in Orlando.
Healthy budget. Speaking of concerts, we've got some concert tickets for you on the other side, so keep it right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Brunell under center. He'll take the snap and drop back to throw. Pressure coming. He's jumping out to the near side. Pump action, cuts across the 50. Breaks a tackle at the 45. He's at the 40. Mark Brunell running to the far sideline. Turns the corner, 35-30. Down to the 25. An inside move, leaping for the 21. Mark Brunell with a masterful run.
Home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
It's New Year's resolution time, so why not skip the guilt and do something you'll actually stick to? Mia here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. How about fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting that AC ready for the summer? Duck Duck Rooter is here to help you keep this resolution. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Invest in your home and start the year off right. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It all begins with Speed Weeks, presented by Advent Health, February 12th through 16th. The Daytona 500 is sold out, but you can still win a 4-pack of tickets to all the other Speed Weeks races. What anniversary of the Great American Race does 2025 mark? Text the anniversary number to 641-1010. What anniversary of the Great American Race does 2025 mark? Text the answer to 641-1010 for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Speed Weeks races.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it, and we're now set for the final stretch of the road to New Orleans. MyBookie is the one book that has your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we have you covered too. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That'll double your bankroll with a 50% deposit bonus straight from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The big game prop bets are going to be plentiful. Take a hard look at player props and those wacky big game props you select each year from MyBookie. Stack that with MyBookie's Risk-Free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost each and every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your 50% bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. The road to New Orleans is here for the big game. Bet anything, anytime, and from anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards. And it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
The Electric Light Orchestra Experience featuring Evil Woman, the American ELO. A concert celebration featuring the music of Electric Light Orchestra. It's February 5th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service and the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full-service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Coen Flowers floral plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Coen Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at coenflowers.com.
Hey, are you ready to welcome our new head coach, Liam Coen, to the bank? Join us this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Gallagher Club West and be among the first to hear directly from Coach Coen. Enjoy a live panel with Coach Coen, appearances from Jaguars legend Tony Vaselli, The Roar, Jackson DeVille, and the D-Line. Tickets are free, but space is limited. Secure your tickets by going to jaguars.com/Coach Coen today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
I was sitting there selling turnips on a flatbed truck, crunching on a pork rind when she pulled up.
You know it's country
music, by the way, when Billy Currington says, crunching on a pork rind when she pulled up. That's some dang good country music for you. Billy Currington comes to town along with Kip Moore. I've seen them both in concert, and that's why I can tease John Alba about how much he's spent on Springsteen concerts, because if you were to add up all the money I've spent over the last 20 years on concerts, it would be up there, which is why I try to go to less expensive ones like this one, which is coming to the St. Augustine Amphitheater on Friday, June 27th. That is Friday, June 27th. If you've never been to the Amp, by far one of my favorite concert venues I've ever been to anywhere. The acoustics are fantastic, and there's always a breeze. Yep. And as soon as you pull onto the property, you've got those gorgeous oak trees. They've got bars set up, merchandise set up. It's literally fantastic. And if you don't absolutely love your seat, which why would you not? Because every seat is a good seat. Mm-hmm. But you can even hang out on the side of the stage and just relax.
Oh, it's fantastic.
If you want to go, we have 3 pairs of tickets to give away today. Be call number 4 at 641-1010. Call number 4, 641-1010. All the listeners are like, Lauren, give a call number. Quit talking about the concert. If you don't win the 3 pairs of tickets that we have for you, go online to AXS.com. Those tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. AXS.com. The Amp made the transition away from Ticketmaster, thank goodness, to AXS, which is a much better way to get tickets. That's how I got tickets for Zach Bryan when he came to VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. But yeah, Billy Currington and Kip Moore, both fantastic in concert. Of course, that was Good Directions by Billy Currington. Looking forward to that concert, and good luck to everybody out there. All right, so Taylor, one of your favorite people, I should say.
He's famous.
He's also famous, Jameis. He will be joining Super Bowl coverage. I know you're excited about it.
I thought you were about to say he will be joining us. I was like, yes.
We're
working on that, by the way.
We're efforting for Jameis Winston to join the program. But he will be joining Fox as a correspondent for Super Bowl coverage. How do you think this is going to go? Is he going to be serious about football, or is he going to be typical kind of crazy Jameis?
I am expecting Jameis to be Jameis. I think that I don't know if he knows he's being goofy sometimes. I think it's his genuine personality. And from people I've talked to that have covered Jameis, that's him. Any interview you've seen with players, they're like, Jameis is Jameis in the huddle, in the most critical, you have 2 minutes to win the game. He's still being that goofy Jameis self. And I do think, I jokingly said it on Twitter where I was like, they knew people didn't want to watch the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. So they were like, let's go get Jameis Winston to liven up this broadcast.
Which, by the way, the people saying they're going to boycott the Super Bowl, I understand where they're coming from and all, but they're going to watch because they then want to see if the refs make calls that help the Chiefs again.
I had multiple friends right away being like, I'm not watching this. It's Philly and the Chiefs. I'm like, yes, you are.
Even Donna Murphy was like, I'm just watching for the commercials. And I'm like, well, you're there for the party, though, so it's going to be on. It's not like you're going to be watching, I don't know, reruns of Days of Our Lives while the Super Bowl is going on.
The commercials used to be good. Now I feel like that is a time that I don't have to pay as much attention. By the way, our Heeligan Jim, who I told you about with the highlights, likes to have more of a challenge. He also has a theory about the Super Bowl that either the game's good or the halftime show is good, but you never get both good at the same time. I'd have to go back and research, but it is interesting. So he's saying this year the game's going to be really good because he's not a Kendrick Lamar fan.
I feel like the game was good last year, right?
The game was good last year.
And I loved Usher. I was vibing so hard with Usher last year. So
we don't remember the game. What does that say?
I know. I literally was like, I just remember dancing with Usher while Usher was playing. And I was like, this was the most nostalgic thing I've ever seen in a long time. But I also am
it was
such
Chiefs 25, 49ers 22.
I thought it was a good one.
It was at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas.
I am also such a music fan, and I love everything. I will listen to country, I listen to rap, I listen to hardcore, I listen to metal, I'll listen to Mozart. I'm literally in Mozart.
What about EDM?
That is probably the one that I won't, but there are certain songs because they'll a lot of EDM is they'll take a song you already know and like and kind of just make it a dance version. So there are some that but that is the farther down my list on most things. So maybe it's different for me because when I'm watching the halftime shows, I listen to so much music that I have fun most of the time, no matter what. And we'll mock things. I remember with the Rihanna thing, they were like, all she did was stand there. I'm like, girl was pregnant up in the miles in the air. What did you want her to do?
The Katy Perry one was, I would say,
when was that one?
Silly. That one was several years ago, but she had the shark.
Oh, that was, I think, 20. I think it was 2014.
That was,
I was in college, so.
But yeah, what do you think? Do you think Jameis is going to be more serious, or do you think we'll still see the funny Jameis?
I'd like to see the Jameis that at one point in time was really good at football, kind of bring his personality, but also discuss some of the X's and O's and maybe have some features where he's gone and talked to Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley or Patrick Mahomes. We probably don't need more Mahomes and Kelsey, actually. So pick some other Chiefs there. But like Kareem Hunt, a Jameis sitting down with Kareem Hunt and his second turn in Kansas City and the things that he's been through. Like, I do think because Jameis has been through off the field stuff, there could be some really unique conversations that could come out of that. But at the end of the day, what do I think Fox is going to do? Probably just have him be silly.
I think it's going to be an alternate broadcast, and it's just they're going to like put him over there. And if you want to watch him, great. If not,
it's going to be like a Manning cast?
No, I don't think it'll be on the main broadcast. Unfortunately, I think it'll be on an alternate, like Manning cast broadcast. That's at least my expectation. I would too. I would too, especially depending on which Tom Brady we get in the booth.
Yeah, that's true.
Katy Perry performed February 1st, 2015. So it was the 2014
10 years ago.
season.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I do think that the game is going to be really good because you have so much time for both of these teams to prepare for one another. And obviously Jalen Hurts, we already saw him with an injury look really good. So give him 2 extra weeks to, get healthy and everything. And then the fact that Andy Reid and what Steve Spagnuolo can do offensively and defensively respectfully against the Eagles. But can they stop Saquon Barkley? Like, that is the biggest question of the entire game as far as if you're talking about the Chiefs defense.
And I could pull up stats for you and we can dive into that. We've got 6 more days on the air to do so. So we will at some point next week. But I'm going to tell you right now, on Thursday, January 30th, 11 days out from the Super Bowl, I don't think any stat's going to matter when it comes to stopping Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how good the Chiefs are against the run. Ultimately, the Eagles have gone against teams that are some of the best run defenses in the National Football League, and Saquon Barkley has still run all over them. And so that's where I think that is the X factor of all X factors. Is Saquon Barkley the kryptonite of the Kansas City Chiefs that we have long awaited for? Someone to finally be the antidote to just their sheer dominance.
But doesn't it also feel like Saquon could go for 175 and the Chiefs still win?
Yes,
like somehow, some way, the Chiefs get the ball with
right. I mean, Josh
13
Allen
seconds left, like we've seen before.
Josh Allen hasn't had a turnover against them in their last 3 postseason meetings, and he's known for turnovers. And
they also had like 140 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns,
and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. One player who, as we do a way too early preview of the Super Bowl or the big game, that I want to.
You can say Super Bowl
on air. We can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just not in commercials.
Okay, good to know. I heard a great commercial on, I think it was TV or radio, where they like made a joke about it's a game so big we can't even say the name or something like that. Anyways,
if you're talking about
like a sponsor,
it has to be.
But in talk radio we can. Okay. Yeah. So one player who I think a storyline we really have not talked nearly enough about is Joe Thuney, and the fact that he, after years, speaking of the one or two things, the Achilles heels of the Kansas City Chiefs, their offensive tackle position has obviously been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
They paid Juwan Taylor all that money. They've drafted players. They brought in Donovan Smith. It is a turnstile at both positions, with all due respect to Juwan Taylor, who has been able to largely lock down the right side when he's not getting penalized for false starts. And so,
which he did here every game. No one ever called it. He goes to the Chiefs, and
it's like
they
constantly.
were
every other week. Every other week. And so that's where I think it's so fascinating, because this is a guy who literally has played his entire career at left guard and finally just says, you know what, screw it. We can't figure it out. I'll be an undersized left tackle. I don't care. I will try to learn the left tackle position on the fly, and I can be better than the second-round pick that we drafted. I can be better than the free agents that we've signed, and he largely has been. Patrick Mahomes has been protected, more upright over the last however many weeks that Joe Thuney, I think it's now 8 weeks that he's been the left tackle than he was previous to it.
Yeah. I saw a stat actually saying that they're tied for first in offensive holding penalties, the Kansas City Chiefs are. So they definitely have that. They can protect him, but they jump a lot and hold a lot. I actually, going through that, Robert Griffin, RG3, posted a thing kind of defending, like, stop saying Kansas City gets all these calls and stop saying Patrick Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. But there were some interesting stats in his thread with it. Number one, they're 17th in percent of scoring drives aided by penalties. They are 8th in roughing passer penalties called on the defenders hitting Mahomes since 2018. They're tied for first in offensive holding in 2024. They're tied for the second fewest unnecessary roughing calls in their favor in 2024. They just have actually 2, which I think a lot of people may be shocked by that. 32 of 61 penalties called against the Chiefs in their last 9 playoff games have been when Patrick Mahomes was not on the field. So that's another thing, obviously, to keep an eye on. So there are a lot of things. It's easy for us because when we're watching those, like when you're watching a playoff game, you're focusing on it, and people are obviously going to call out Mahomes on a lot of things. But I've seen a lot of these numbers saying, like, actually, they're not getting called on him the way that people think they're getting called on him.
By the way, to that point of the calls and Patrick Mahomes and the personal fouls and what have you, back to Joe Thuney real quick. Patrick Mahomes was sacked 35 times between week 1 and week 14. In the 6 weeks that Joe Thuney has been the left tackle, he has been sacked once.
Wow.
And so I look at that as, number one, that's the presence of having a pro's pro at left tackle, even if he's never played the position before. But number 2, to your point, Taylor, this is what they do.
Yeah.
They lock it in mysteriously down the home stretch of the regular season and in the postseason. And yes, perhaps maybe some questionable calls that go their way.
I do think Patrick Mahomes also is good at avoiding those sacks, so he helps his offensive line a lot when it comes to getting away. And we obviously know certain quarterbacks are a problem when it comes to holding the ball too long or kind of running into sacks and stuff like that. Patrick Mahomes helps his line a lot.
I do feel like the Chiefs defense is going to have a plan for Saquon. Like they're a team that doesn't allow a lot of explosive rushes throughout the season. We obviously know they're stout up in the middle. But then the Eagles obviously have other weapons too, with Devonta Smith and with A.J. Brown. And so it's Dallas Goedert. It's one of those where it's going to be fascinating to see. I feel like the first half is going to be somewhat low scoring. Like each team is kind of, making the chess moves to see and setting up the second half.
Yeah.
Unless, again, Saquon goes off, something like that. All right, we've got more concert tickets for you. Also, Mia and I were at JU last night. I want to talk about that game as well as UNF. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Big games, big hitters, big radio. Go big or go home. 1010XL, the station that plays big. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Burton Cummings, the voice of a generation. Burton Cummings, 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. February 5th at Florida Theater. These eyes. With special guest, Jim Messina. Burton Cummings and his band. 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures right now running an awesome special for January. Get a complete enclosure done, get free flooring. Now that can save you some money. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring also running a buy one room, get the second room free. Once again, only for January. Now offering flooring coating as well. So give them a call. I know I did. Visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound and Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjax.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Nick in here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs. Did the kitchen tile take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Lone Pronto. The North Florida Ospreys came out on top in an overtime thriller last night against Stetson, 101-100. 6 Ospreys finished in double figures with sophomore guard Josiah Miles leading the way with a team-high 18 points. Head coach Matthew Driscoll postgame on the hard-fought game.
6 guys in double figures and Josh with a double-double, and we just got to figure out a way and find a way to finish better than that, and it should have been a double-digit, but Stetson's not going to quit. Our league's like that. You saw the scores tonight. It's just this league is a beast. It's the hardest league in America. I don't care what you say, because every night it's a battle, and so to our guys' credit, we came out on top tonight.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are inviting you to hear from new head coach Liam Coen at a free fan event tonight starting at 6 down in the bank. To secure your free ticket in advance, visit jaguars.com/Coach Coen. It's 71 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
I wasn't born holes. I'm not made for paving long roads. I ain't cut out to climb highline poles, but I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
I suppose another very classic country song when it says pretty good at drinking beer.
Yeah.
More from Billy Currington. Also, Kip Moore will be joining him Friday, June 27th at the St. Augustine Amphitheater. If you want to go, be caller number 2 at 641-1010. Caller number 2, 641-1010. If you don't win the tickets, go on to AXS.com tomorrow morning. Tickets will go on sale, and we've got one more pair, so keep on listening to our show to try and win them. Have you seen either Billy Currington or Kip Moore?
I have not.
Okay.
I honestly don't know if I know
Kip Moore?
Kip Moore.
Oh,
yeah.
you definitely know
Yeah,
Kip
okay.
Moore.
Something about a truck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. I definitely know Billy Currington, but I didn't know.
I think you'd know a few different songs from Kip Moore. He came and he was an opening act for Miranda Lambert. I want to say back in like 2017 at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. So he came there. That's when I saw him. And then Billy Currington came to the Amp last summer, and we went, and it was so much fun. Had pit tickets, which I love being up close and personal. And so a whole lot of fun. Like I said, we'll have more tickets to give away in one more segment.
Have you guys seen the video? We were talking about him yesterday. The Miami tight end. How did we decide to say his last name?
Arroyo.
Okay. He got a touch. He scored a touchdown today and then punted the ball into the stands. Did you see that?
I did not. I love it.
That was his celebration. He catches it and then literally just turns around and punts it, and it like flies into the stands. They're like, this is the Senior Bowl first.
Well, that reminds me of Blake Bortles, speaking of 2017, against the Ravens in London. Blake and the Jags scored, I want to say 44 on the Ravens that day, won easily. And Blake, I want to say it was like his third touchdown or something. After that, he punted it into the stands there in London, which was probably the first time that London fans had seen something like that. Jags only been going
They were
around
like,
for
now
5
that's
years.
football.
Exactly. That is football. You just heard in Molly's update, UNF last night. So they were up with, at the under 4 timeout, they were up 83-71. UNF was up. And I was following along as we were at JU. And as we were actually walking out, a guy said, yeah, UNF's going to overtime. And I'm like, that's not possible. They were just up by 12 with just a few minutes left with 3:57 on the clock.
Lauren, you had also just watched JU blow a 24-point lead. So anything is possible.
Oh, no, both did it?
So, JU's was obviously twice that lead because JU's was up to 24 points at one point in the game. But so UNF ends up going to overtime. And then, as you just heard Coach Driscoll talk about it, what a battle. Ended up winning 101-100. I mean, that is an insane game against Stetson. And so this Saturday night, you have JU playing host to UNF at 6 p.m. on the lovely campus of JU. And so, speaking of the JU game, since that's where we were, Mia was on the call. I was just sitting at Media Row. And I will say those refs let those players play. Yes, down the stretch, had JU made the free throws, we might have been talking about a different result. I get all that. But overall, it was a very, I thought, physical basketball game.
Well, as I joked on the broadcast, if Trent Baalke's looking for a job, I think he and Jordan Mincy share similar views when it comes to recruiting and scouting, because the length on JU and the physicality and the defensive mindset that they play with is something I think Trent Baalke has always tried to create in the National Football League and maybe has fallen short. Jordan Mincy has created that at JU, the physicality, the relentlessness that the Dolphins play with. It was on full display last night, unfortunately.
The first half, for sure.
Right. Well, because the problem is, and I said this on the broadcast, JU is built that their defense leads to offense. And in the first half, it did. But as we saw at different points last year, and especially last night in the second half, that defense, if it doesn't create offense because they're not scoring points off turnovers, because they're not getting offensive rebounds, because they're wreaking havoc in the paint, that is where creating their own shot outside of Rob McCray can be a bit of a struggle. They went in the portal. They got more scores. The storyline that no one's really talking about, Lauren, quite frankly, is not even the foul trouble and what have you. But I think the fact that Jakari Spence, the true transfer point guard, he started cramping in probably with 4 minutes to go, right before the under 4 timeout. He actually pleaded with the refs, hey, please call a timeout, please call it. And the ref didn't. And he's like, I'm hurt. And he just stops dribbling and sits down on the floor. It was I've never seen that happen before. not having that facilitating point guard on the floor and just basically saying, okay, Rob, you create a shot and everybody else just rebound the ball and hopefully, get to the line, settle for a putback. That's what that offense has looked like at different points over the last 3 years under Mincy. And it's not a knock to him. It's just by virtue of the skill set of those players. That's what happens when you go out and you have guys who defense is the priority. And so, unfortunately, it came back to haunt them in the end. At the same time,
give credit to Florida Gulf Coast for sure.
Correct. I mean, I
thought they would be after the game having that conversation of some games just get away from you, move on to the next. We'll watch the film and move on to the next. That's how I thought that was going to go when the Dolphins were basically. I mean, I was thinking to myself, Jordan Mincy is going to praise his team for the suffocating defense. That's what the story is going to be after this game. And then, like I said, give Florida Gulf credit because Florida Gulf Coast credit. They just kept battling.
I don't know, Taylor. Down 24.
Yeah. I heard.
Do you yell at me for saying, into the on the broadcast into my producer? I'm like, okay, we're ready to give out player of the game, right? Yeah. This game's over. That was fun 16
Yes. I heard Hayes. Obviously, Frank and Hayes were at the game yesterday, but broadcasting before, and I heard Hayes say that right now I guess yesterday, I don't know what happened after a loss, but yesterday they would be the 13 seed at this point.
14.
14
in the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's that's exciting. And I went after
they would have won the A-Sun in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Which I was like, congratulations. That's the type of basketball that you want to see around here. But then when I looked at the score later, I was like, oh no.
So here's the thing. So they're now tied with Florida Gulf Coast at the top of the conference. And ultimately.
Still nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
Yeah.
And ultimately, even if you win the regular season, that does not assure you an automatic bid. Yeah. It would assure you an automatic bid to the NIT if you do not win the conference tournament. And so.
That's what Georgia played in last year, in case you're keeping record.
Yes. So that's where, historically speaking, we've had teams in the A-Sun that have won both. They've won the tournament and they've won the regular season. We've also had, in the case of JU, 2 of the last 3 years, they've knocked off the number 1 seed in the tournament and route to the conference semifinals and the conference tournament championship. And so that's where we've seen so many A-Sun teams, unfortunately, have to go to the first 4 by virtue of either A, their strength of schedule overall wasn't that great, and B, because they didn't actually win the league in the regular season. That also their seeding was directly impacting where they were, and they just got hot over a 3 or 4 day stretch. And so, look, I mean, it's a tall task for any of these teams, because the idea of you win the regular season and then you also can be consistent enough over a 5-6 day stretch to win the tournament and get the automatic bid is a tall ask. I don't care what conference in America you play in. That's just asking for the utmost level of consistency, especially in a conference like the A-Sun where there's no clear-cut front runner.
Coach Mincy joked that similar to how the Chiefs are to the Bills, that's how Florida Gulf Coast is to the Dolphins, because it's 9 straight, I want to say, that Florida Gulf Coast has been able to take. And so, look, Coach Mincy's squad is doing things offensively I've never seen them do. So, yes, that suffocating defense is awesome, but you've got to be able to shoot. And so, like I said, it's just missing 7 of 8 of your last free throws is frustrating. And as a Gators fan, I've complained about that throughout this season at times, is the free throws just haven't been there. And you just have to wonder, is that conditioning? Your legs by the end of the game just aren't where they need to be. And so you're leaving the shot short. Are you really boxing out well enough then if you do miss the shots in order to get the rebounds? Or again, are your legs tired? Like the way that JU plays, the way Florida plays, teams like that just, I mean, they are sprinting constantly. You do wonder, like, is the conditioning level there? Do you have enough depth and rotation in order to keep your team fresh towards the end of these games? And I wish I was at UNF simultaneously, because those games going to overtime, that is, I mean, to score 100 points in a college basketball game is hard.
Yeah. And now they get to play each other.
They do. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere this Saturday night at JU at Swisher Gymnasium is the first leg of the River City Rumble. And it's always fun. I've been to that so many times at both places. And it's always fun because the two teams intimately know each other. Yeah. And also the fans of both sides, depending on which gym it's in, they also intimately know each other's teams. And so there's some extra heckling going on and things like that. But yeah, it was a fun atmosphere last night. Also, Mia, the Reebok pep band was there, and
awesome.
They were loud. So that was a lot of fun. And so, yeah, again, I said it yesterday. If you love sports, get out to the River City Rumble. Get out to UNF Arena when UNF has now 4 more home games.
And I would like to remind folks, Lauren's not kidding, and I actually misspoke on the broadcast, but I'll modify it here. Throw the records out. throw out the preconceived notions for both these two teams because it's a rivalry game. Last year, I was on the call for this, the River City Rumble at Swisher Gymnasium, Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Chaz Lanier. Ever heard of him? He's doing pretty well for the University of Tennessee.
They feature him every time they talk about Tennessee basketball.
Yeah, even though they got beat earlier this week, we won't talk about that. He's potentially a contender for the Wooden Award for the best player in college basketball after starring at UNF for 4 years, or rather really emerging in his final season for Matthew Driscoll. He averaged 20 points per game last year in the ASUN, which was a conference record. JU held him to 3 of 10 shooting. If not for 6 free throws, he would have had 7 points in that meeting last year at Swisher Gymnasium. So throw out the records. Anything is possible when it comes to the Rumble. There are no more tickets available unless there's like a secondary market I don't know about. If there's a black market for River City Rumble tickets, I'd love to know more. 641-1010. That's the text line, Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or the MyBookie Digital Studio. But you can watch ESPN Plus, and of course, we will have the broadcast live here on the Superstation 1010 AM with Scott Manzi.
And the second edition of the River City Rumble, for those who want to plan around that, Thursday, February 20th, that's JU at UNF. And so, yeah, that obviously, like I said yesterday, they seat certainly like 4 times the amount of people. UNF Arena, much bigger than Swisher Gymnasium. And so you can get tickets to that. All right, time now for our Terminix Pest of the Day. Been chatting with Martin from Terminix because we had some small ants come back, but they did such a good job that the ants have since subsided, so we don't even need them to come back. But if I do, he is just a text away. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix.com, and they handle the pest control for Everbank Stadium, Daly's Place, ViStar, Veterans Memorial Arena, any of those concert venues that you love. They handle it there as well. All right, Taylor, this one's for you. Ooh. Today's pest of the day is none other than Cam Newton. And here's his quote. I didn't listen to the podcast or at First Take. That's what it appeared on. I didn't listen to the whole thing. So if there's context, I don't know. I'm just running with the quote. When asked if he would trade his Super Bowl MVP for a Super Bowl victory, Cam Newton said, "No, I'm taking individual success because I did my job." You wouldn't trade an MVP for the Lombardi and the ring? Are you kidding me? Because you did your job? Maybe that's why you didn't win the Super Bowl there, Cam.
That's the most selfish thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And also,
and you've heard a lot of selfish things.
The ultimate goal is a Super Bowl,
right?
Like a Super Bowl trophy. I don't believe that, first of all, but I do think that he would throw that MVP trophy out the window, for a Super Bowl trophy. Like, who would not, honestly?
That was a great subtle shout out there, Taylor. Well done.
He, at one point in time, was accused of stealing a laptop and then to not be caught with it. This was when he was at University of Florida backing up Tim Tebow. He supposedly threw the laptop out the window. So that was the excellent reference. But yeah, I just thought that was ridiculous. Again, I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But when I see a quote graphic, I say, I'm just going to run with that when it comes to Cam Newton being selfish, like you said. Very narcissistic. All right, when we return, we've got one more pair of tickets to give away to go see Billy Currington and Kip Moore. We also have Mia's midweek MyBookie picks, so keep it right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
You mad? Yeah, I'm mad. Good and mad. Yeah.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
What do you want to do about it? It feels good, doesn't it?
The Drill.
Yeah.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Now time I got some respect.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they're proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of both new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And get this, all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, Most Valuable Pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville, Beach Boulevard, and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses. Call Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
The Electric Light Orchestra Experience comes to the Jacksonville Center for Performing Arts Wednesday, February 5th as part of the FSCJ Artist Series. For a chance to win tickets, text ELO to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
The Florida Forum welcomes best-selling author and journalist Carl Hyacin, February 12th. Funds raised go to a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,200 infants and children a year to Wilson Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at thefloridaforum.com or call 202-2886. 202-2886.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at barryorthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out with the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom. You'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Coen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hey, are you ready to welcome our new head coach, Liam Coen, to the bank? Join us this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Gallagher Club West and be among the first to hear directly from Coach Coen. Enjoy a live panel with Coach Coen, appearances from Jaguars legend Tony Vaselli, The Roar, Jackson DeVille, and the D-Line. Tickets are free, but space is limited. Secure your tickets by going to Jaguars.com/Coach Coen today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Just how our story ends. Did all I could to try to make it work, but you drug my heart through the Alabama dirt.
We just had to tell one Frank Frangie, no, Frank, you cannot win the Billy Currington and Kip Moore tickets. You work here. You have to be caller number 3 at 641-1010. Caller number 3, 641-1010 to win the tickets to go see Billy and Kip at the Amp in St. Augustine, Friday, June 27th. The Amp is literally a gorgeous venue, so go there. If you didn't win the tickets today, so sorry, but you can buy them tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. on AXS.com. And I guarantee you will have a great time. The Amp is awesome. And like I said, I've been there so many different times, and I love it. It's literally one of my favorite places that I've ever been.
I've been to a lot of amphitheaters here, Georgia,
West
Chicago. I've been to a lot, and it truly is one of my favorite music venues to go to. And I will say also one of my favorite things about the Amp is that, and we talk about this, of like, things need to be earlier because we get tired now, and there is because of the sound,
the noise ordinance.
The noise ordinance. They do start a little earlier, so by 10 o'clock you'll be able to go home. Which I know this is like maybe not everybody cares about that, but if it's a weeknight especially, you're like, heck yeah, like I can go see 4 or 5 bands and still know I'll be home by 10:30.
Exactly. So we had win them before. You can buy them, but again, you can go buy those tickets tomorrow. All right. In case you need to buy the tickets and you need some money, Mia's gonna make you some.
Now, Mia's midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
So we're not going to pick the big game on MyBookie just yet. Like I said, we do have plenty of time to dissect the Chiefs, the Eagles, coming up in about a week and a half's time. So let's begin, RJ Saunders. In the association, the Orlando Magic. I don't really know what to make of the Magic these days, RJ. Can you give me like a 30-second primer? Like Franz comes back, Paolo comes back, Jalen Suggs is up and down in terms of his health, but they're not playing as well as they were without them, question mark?
I think you just kind of need to get back in your flow and back in your rhythm with everybody. You also need three-point shooting. If you're not shooting league average, which is 36% from the floor, we have one thing that we like to eloquently call a problem. So they need to make a trade for a shooter. Which shooter that is, I do not know. But I went from not being worried at all to this team to now being a tad bit worried. But still a lot of basketball left. So the Magic can turn this around if they can get their act together.
They've won just 2 of their last 10. I think they do get things right going up against a Trailblazers squad, yes, in the Pacific Northwest, but a Portland team that is currently 3rd to last in the Western Conference standings. So give me the Magic to cover the 5-point spread this evening.
The Magic and the Heat are exactly 500. The only 2 teams in all of the NBA, but they are both exactly 500.
And the only reason that the Heat are exactly 500 is they beat the Magic on Monday night. Right. So it's a little in-state help there to get to that number.
Yeah, Buckets just got suspended for indefinitely.
Again.
He could have been the pest like 5 times in a row.
Can we talk about the fact that he was like doing an impromptu press conference like at a children's like soccer event or something like that? It wasn't children. I think it actually might have been like a professional soccer game that he was like attending as a fan. And just like impromptu, all the TV cameras come out. Like, I was like, are we in 1998 here that they, like, swarm? They're like, Jimmy Butler's at this game. We got to go talk to him. I felt like some T.O. vibes there. Let's stay on the hardwood. Let's go to the college ranks. This first one is no notes. You know me. I'm your AP voter on the men's side here for the state of Florida. I should know this. I don't. This is solely off of vibes. The fact that our friend John Alba joined us earlier to go down memory lane with regards to he and Liam Cohen's time together at the University of Maine. Maine is a 12.5-point favorite against New Hampshire tonight, and I'm just going to roll with the Black Bears. Have not really been following the American East as much as maybe I should, especially after how much we just talked about the A-Sun. But let's go with the vibes. Let's go with Liam Cohen's old stomping grounds. Give me the Maine Black Bears to cover a 12.5-point spread. This one's a little bit more mainstream, we'll call it.
Maine.
Yes. Well said. Look at Taylor Dahl. She is on her toes today, folks. Keeping you on your toes.
Temperature for that ball game, granted it's indoors, but a high of 11 today, low of 3.
Yeah. No, classic Orono, Maine weather this time of year. Women's basketball. I made the argument on the women's basketball podcast earlier this week. We talked so much about the men's basketball, the SEC being the best conference in all of college basketball. This is unprecedented stuff. Look at what Greg Sankey has done. This was already happening behind the scenes, and it's in large part thanks to Dawn Staley and, of course, Kim Mulkey coming over from Baylor. Yes, I'm giving Kim Mulkey a compliment. I'm actually going to give her another one here in a second. But look at what Greg Sankey and the SEC have also been able to do in women's basketball. Oklahoma and Texas have been game changers on the women's side because both are perennially in this contemporary era top 15 teams. They both currently are in the top 15 of the AP poll. It'll be a goodie. LSU, Oklahoma, a little bit of short rest of sorts for the Tigers, who also had their game last week moved to Friday at South Carolina because of the snowstorm in Louisiana. This one, the spread is not available right now, but you can get Kim Mulkey and the Tigers on the money line, minus 319. I will gladly take that. I believe Anissa Morrow is one of the more underrated players in the country. Flau'jae Johnson obviously is what brings a lot of the attention to that team, not just because of her music career. She's a dynamite guard, but Anissa Morrow is one of the most consistent basketball players you will ever see. Collegiate, professional, men, women. Give me the Tigers on the money line at minus 319. Let's do that hockey, RJ. Let's do that hockey. In my household,
I feel like RJ's like, I'm not prepared.
We watch hockey, but we don't watch hockey maybe. Taylor's household, I know they're locked in on hockey. But ever since we went to Vegas and I took Kevin to his first ever NHL game.
He loves it?
Whenever the Golden Knights are on, he's like, just keep us on the TV. Let's watch little Golden Knights. So shout out to the Golden Knights. They're in a lot of commercials these days too, and other ESPN documentaries, and they just keep popping up. So I'm going to ride with the Golden Knights tonight, minus 1.5 goal spread against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Solely based off of the Vegas Golden Knights, man. They're fun to watch. And also, we like the vibes. So we'll go with the Vegas Golden Knights, but also in reality, folks, I'm not just going to pick this based off of the fact that we went to Las Vegas and had fun there. Oh, yeah. Here we go. They're coming off of an overtime loss to Dallas on Tuesday. That was after losing to Dallas the week prior, 4-3, a Western Conference Finals preview, perhaps. Yeah. Many are asking. The Golden Knights have been on a little bit of a tough stretch. They had a 4-game losing streak earlier in the month of January. I think they're starting to find their footing. So give me the Knights to cover against a Blue Jackets team that right now is also trying to find itself, having lost 6 of their last 7. Never say we don't talk about hockey here on the Superstation. And finally,
do people say that we never talk hockey?
Yeah, I've had a couple. I've had people text in and be like, "You need to talk more hockey." And
we do have some hockey fans.
By the way, the owner of the Black Knights, I know
the Golden Knights.
Or thank you, the Golden Knights. He owns Black Knight, which is here in Jacksonville, and so the Golden Knights have ties to Jacksonville.
I didn't know. All the more reason. The final 5th leg of this parlay. We go to the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Scotty Scheffler is back, folks, after being somewhat injured. He had the wrist injury thing going on. He had not played for about 3 months. Thank you, RJ. April's around the corner. Georgia on my mind.
March is even sooner.
March is even sooner. Well said, Lauren. Somehow, some way, Scotty Scheffler hasn't played in a PGA-sanctioned event in 3-4 months.
He cut his hand making ravioli.
Yeah, see how nice I was? It was the hand injury. I tried to cover that up, but thank you, Lauren.
You didn't have the right tools to cut the pasta.
Thank you for revealing why Scotty Scheffler hasn't golfed in the last 3-4 months. Somehow, some way, this man has not golfed in 3 months. He's the favorite to win this Pro-Am tournament this weekend at plus 650. I don't blame my bookie in Vegas for not betting against him because I will never bet against Scotty Scheffler. So I'm going to take him at plus 650. Rory McIlroy and Colin Morikawa currently have the same odds. But give me Scheffler. I need him to get up there, win the trophy, and just start yelling, ravioli, ravioli. Give me the formioli. I have the formula to winning the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So just to run through those again, folks, in case you're keeping score. The Magic -5 over the Portland Trail Blazers on the road tonight. The Vegas Golden Knights -1.5 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Maine Black Bears to cover a 12.5-point spread against New Hampshire in men's basketball. LSU on the money line against Oklahoma in a real goodie in the SEC, -319. And finally, Scotty Scheffler +615 to win the Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
Taylor, you've made homemade pasta, right?
I have, actually, yes.
So the story goes that Scotty and his wife Meredith were in a rental house, and they wanted to make the pasta dough from scratch, but they didn't have the proper tools because they're in a rental house.
Yeah.
So he went and got a wine glass, and I think he was going to use that to kind of cut the dough out, right, and shape the pasta, and the wine glass broke. And so the thinner the wine glass, the better the wine glass. Yeah. So I'm guessing this rental house was the next one, and they didn't have the thick glasses, which, again, those aren't actually as good for drinking the wine.
Yeah.
But either way, that was what happened. And so I'm assuming that either they don't try and do this again, or they bring all their pasta making tools with them when they're in rental houses, because obviously golfers are
gotta be prepared.
Exactly.
Let me share this real quick, because we had a lot of texts come in the text line when you were sharing your pest of the day, and everybody was like, he didn't do his job at the Super Bowl anyways because he should have fallen on the ball. Do you remember? That was like the thing, is he didn't fall on the fumble. So it's like you actually lost the Super Bowl technically, because you should have fallen on a fumble when everybody knows you fall on the fumble.
Exactly. And also, for the record, you want to win. Like, that is the whole point. It's a team sport, and everyone wants to win. But either way, Cam Newton, there you go. I like that everyone chimed in as well. We've got one segment to go. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL's Dan Hicken dominated Folio Weekly's Best of 2024. Best TV sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports show starring Dan Hicken. 1010XL, the home of Dan Hicken.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857, or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Mia here for MyBookie. It's finally here. A game so big we're not even supposed to say the name. I told you I'd heard that commercial a time or two. The ultimate betting event of the year. If you're not on MyBookie, you are missing out on the action. Big game betting with MyBookie goes beyond just picking the winner, folks. All the wild props for the big game that you can think of. Will it be heads or tails for the coin toss? What color will the Gatorade be for the drenching of the winning coach? Even the length of the national anthem and the spectacle of the halftime show are up for grabs. MyBookie loves giving you options to bet on everything. We make it easy to win and even easier to get paid. Whether you deposit with crypto or credit, bonuses await. Our new loyalty program gives you cash back just for playing. Bet on big game boosted parlays, live betting, jackpots that can turn small bets into big wins, fast signups, lightning fast payouts. Why just watch when you can own the big game? Sign up with MyBookie now using promo code 1010XL and get your 50% sign up bonus to kick things off. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Yo, E.T. here, and beat the winter blues with fun activities in Clay County. Some of my personal favorites are a hands-on aquaponics class at Reparation Earth, or diving into the action at Nakima Anime Bar, where you can join weekly gaming and cosplay tournaments. Clay County always has something going on. Plan your next date at exploreclay.com and share the fun at #ExploreClay.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins DUI defense firm and Monahan Jewelers on 1010XL.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Huddle up and catch all the playoff action at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. They're serving up the flavors you crave, from refreshing new cocktails to famous wings that are always better with Pepsi. And with happy hour deals, you'll be winning all day long. It's the perfect spot to catch all the football action with friends and family while enjoying your food faves, cocktails, and beer. Don't miss out. Swing by Hurricane Grill and Wings and see what everyone's cheering about.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WinterWorld wants you to do. WinterWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WinterWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WinterWorld can.
And with WinterWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WinterWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WinterWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WinterWorld, and to top it off, WinterWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WinterWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call WinterWorld today and get your free in-home estimate or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
WinterWorld, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Thank you to our friend 291 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures for reminding me. We do have to circle back to a topic we addressed in the opening segment but never got back to, so let's cool down with it. RJ, if you could cue up once more, Adam Schefter on his self-titled podcast noted earlier today that there is a name that you should be keeping an eye out for in the Jaguars general manager search. It is indeed the same name that I have spoken about now for about a week plus time. And so let's take a listen to what Shefty had to say, especially with regards not only to that name, but also Liam Cohen's expected involvement in selecting the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
An MVP candidate. How much of a say is he going to have in the new GM, though? Because it's kind of, I mean, he's got, 5 years of NFL coaching experience, never been a head coach before. That's a pretty big leap to let a first-year head coach who is still a little green, pick the GM that he's going to be paired with.
He's going to be involved in the process. And I think here's a name that we need to have on our radar. I'm not saying he gets the job, but I will say that he's going to be in contention for the job. The Bears assistant general manager, Ian Cunningham. He's going to be a candidate for that Jaguars GM job. Some would say he might be the leading candidate for the Jaguars GM job. I don't know if he's the leading guy or a guy, but he's certainly going to be in the mix and a candidate to become the next head coach or the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Watch that.
Again, as I said earlier in the week, I said it last week as well. I don't care what a fictitious Twitter X account is saying. Ian Cunningham and Liam Coen have been rumored to have been linked for months now. So I don't know anything of this power struggle I've been hearing about online because trust me when I say if Ian Cunningham is to get the job as the Jaguars' next general manager, it will be a long time coming, but it won't be a surprise to many, including Adam Schefter and myself, who have been hearing rumblings of this for months now. Additionally, as Taylor well knows, Ian Cunningham actually said no to the Arizona Cardinals general manager position that ultimately went to Monty Ossenfort. There's also been rumors that he pulled himself out of the running for the Titans general manager position 2 years ago that ultimately went to Rand Carthen. He has been in the mix. He has been considered, as Adam eloquently put it, he has next when it comes to a general manager who would have autonomy, especially independent of a president, a vice president, any sort of involvement. And so knowing his background with the Baltimore Ravens, the Philadelphia Eagles, who, yes, both those organizations have ownership, and or a Ozzie Newsome who is very much involved in the process, but he's looking for a blank slate, and he could find that in Jacksonville.
I will say I have talked to a lot of people in Chicago about it, because I did see the tweet where people were like, oh, there are like... maybe he doesn't like the order of structure here because he wants to have direct. He wants things to be a certain way is pretty much what the tweet said. So I did ask around about that, and from what I have heard, there are a few hesitations. Was the word that somebody said. Not saying that is totally him being like, no, I'm not doing this if this is the case, but he's thinking about things, and I personally think it is because of the way that everything is structured in Chicago. And I've mentioned this for a while, there's too many hands in the cookie jar when they're trying to decide things, because obviously you have McCaskey, who is more of a football guy than Shad Khan is, so he already has his hands in it, and then you have Kevin Warren, and then you have Ryan Poles, and then you have Ian Cunningham, and so there's been rumors that Ryan Poles doesn't like the way that things are, so I think Ryan Poles is kind of in Ian's ear of like, be careful, because if you're going to be the general manager, let me just warn you, you want to have that direct connection to the owner, direct connection to the coach. You want to be that person that is that. But from what I heard, it's not a sense of like, he's like, if this doesn't happen, I'm not going. It's more so, let me think about this, because I do think in the same light, Ian Cunningham, to your point, has said no to jobs before. So he's not one of those guys that are like, I just want to be a general manager. I don't care where it is. He is going to want to be at a place where he feels like it's structured the way he wants it to be structured.
He also interviewed with the Commanders and with the Titans. He's interviewed with the Titans twice. Mm-hmm. And the Commanders obviously went a different way with Adam Peters. The Titans have also not chosen him.
The Chiefs guy.
Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah, which a lot of people love. If the Bears, though, do lose Cunningham to another team, then the Bears would get 2 third-round picks over the next 2 years in 2025 and 2026. So I know that's always one thing, too, when you're looking at a departure. It's like, well, but we would get some draft compensation.
It's not from the Jags, or whatever team. I think people freak out, and they're like, what, we're giving 2 drafts?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Comp pick, well, because people don't know what comp picks are in Jacksonville, because the comp picks
them.
that netted Jarian Jones. Thank you, Chiefs, for paying Juwan Taylor. That was the first comp pick in over a decade. So
they're like, what is this?
Yes, the league just gives you picks. Isn't that a novel idea? The San Francisco 49ers get like 2 a year. It must be really nice. So, as far as updates with the GM search, I haven't heard anything specific. The focus right now, as Shad Khan said, is on Liam Coen supporting him and creating his staff. And so it'll be curious to see at what point in time they do start requesting names. But like Adam Schefter, I agree, you will hear Ian Cunningham at the very least be requested.
The Jaguars also got a comp pick from Arden Key. Arden Key departed to the Titans.
I forgot about that, actually.
But then that became their 6th-round pick, because they traded the other 6th-round pick to get Mac Jones.
Right.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So we barely know what they are, but we have had to. Yeah. I find I'm more of a fascinated person by the coordinator hires for the here and now, because it seems like that movement is a little bit more rapid. It feels like the general manager still might be less than 2 weeks away, but still a little bit farther down the road. I feel like we might see coordinator hires sooner than we do a GM hire.
Oh, definitely. No, I think you are. I think that there might be a little bit of overlap. Like, I think you could see the DC announced. Again, this is not saying it's going to happen. The DC could be announced tonight. The OC may not be announced until tomorrow afternoon, but you hear about a GM request tomorrow morning. I don't take that to the bank, folks. That's just me speculating. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there could be a little bit of overlap, but the focus right now is the staff.
If you're one of the coordinators that Liam's interviewing, are you like, Hey, can we talk about your Duvall? Like, I can give you some advice on that.
Yeah. Or help me so I don't do that in front of the public.
Those people at least won't have this style of press conference, certainly. But that is a good reminder that tonight is Coach Coen's first Duval. We'll see how it sounds.
Duval.
There it is, RJ. That was the one on from Monday. Again, his first one on Monday, excellent. Second one on Monday, certainly has gone viral to be funny. I know one person tweeted us why are Jacksonville people making fun of Liam? Like, that's a national thing. Let it be them. Like, we're just having fun with it. And I think that he'll have fun with it tonight too. But that is at the Gallagher Club West this evening from 6 to 8 p.m. The Frangie Show will be broadcasting live right before that event. And so Tony Baselli, Roar Cheerleaders, 40% off concessions, all the good things, 25% off of
the merch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, if you really want to meet Coach Coen, if you want to tease him about his Duval, I'm sure he'll be in good spirits.
Look, coming from somebody whose hello gets played on this station a lot.
It's okay.
I get it, Liam. I relate to you more than you know.
Haven't we all had that moment where, you look back and you're like, I can't believe that I butchered that. Even yesterday, I told Taylor, because you were out in the moment, you got here a little bit later yesterday, I went to say Nate Shieldhouse and literally had the pronunciation in front of me just in case I forgot, because in my head I had Shield Chase, steeplechase. And literally the pronunciation's in front of me and I go to say it and I butcher it. And I'm somebody who obsesses about pronunciation and I still mess it up. But like I said, it happens to all of us.
I'm just glad that Kai also defended the same way I did. She was like, it's all about the context of if you're saying it mid-sentence and you lose enough oxygen, it makes it difficult.
Yeah. It was still bad. It doesn't take away from the bad.
I feel like I could put it mid-sentence right now and still.
Well, you kind of did a second ago, actually, and that was really good. I was talking to Max yesterday about it because we've
Max,
all had
a resident Eagles fan. For people who don't know.
We've all had our update horror moments.
The bloopers.
Oh my gosh. And so each of us have had moments doing sports updates, especially when you first start, because you're getting used to the timing and getting used to everything. And because he messed up the other day, and I guess he stumbled on a word, which made him stumble on the rest.
Right.
He couldn't get the words out. That happens. And so I was like, don't worry, I've had mine. So I'm sharing my moments of it. I was like, Jordan DeArmond, who used to be on here, had a moment where she had, I can't remember if she had a cough or sneeze, but I want to say it was a cough, but she was trying to hold it in, which turned into her making this crazy noise. And then she was when you try to hold in that cough, your eyes are watering. So it was this whole thing. And I remember Beef saved the sound and would just play this update in the middle of the drill all the time. And I'm like, so it's okay, Liam. We have our moments. We all have our moments.
Yeah, and unfortunately nowadays when there is social media, it can go viral.
It can live forever.
Yeah. And I always tease everyone who was doing updates and messed up but wasn't producing. Imagine being RJ, producing and doing the update, and you have to play your own sound. You have to turn up your own mic, turn down your own mic, and then be ready to obviously to do everyone else's microphones. And we were joking yesterday about just different moments, like you said, Taylor, off air, as far as moments we've had on air that have been, tricky. There was one time that I was producing Jaguars Today when we were in the building across the street, and I was trying to tell them we're coming back, but I don't think they were listening. And this is when their show was inside of Everbank Stadium. And so I was playing a song and Mike didn't realize that they were back on air. And so he was singing the song and it was going out right over the airwaves. But again, I can't see them because I'm here on Hogan. They're downtown. And so he was not pleased with me right away. And then he was like, you know what? It's kind of funny. It's fine.
I fell out of my chair one morning, and this was probably my first week doing updates. So at the end, you have to say the time and temp.
Right.
And I forgot to turn the clock around to see the time, and I didn't have my phone. And so I got to the end, and as I was about to say it, I was like, I have no idea what time it is. And because it's obviously you're supposed to technically do it at 2:00, but it doesn't always fall that way. So and I just started doing them, so I'm like, I can't just make up a time. I need to know. So in my head, I was like, oh no, I forgot to turn the clock. So I'm reaching as I'm still talking, trying to flip the clock around. As I did, the wheels from the chair just went, and so I went face first, and Jeff was like, are you okay? And you hear him in the background. He's like, are you all right? And I was so embarrassed. It was one of my first updates, first time on air. I was like, I'm going to get fired. This is not, I'm not going to have a job tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I have any stories that are quite that good. But I do know that, and this pretty much preceded me, but Beef would change the people's scripts.
Oh, yeah.
And so they'd go to read their update on air.
You would, like,
and there
change
would
a
be,
name.
Or there would be, like, bad words in there that if you were to read them, you might get fired because of you know, FCC guidelines and all that kind of stuff, violations. And, every career obviously has that moment where you look back and you're like, in the meeting or in that presentation, you know, whatever it is, like, I wish I didn't do and then insert it. But ours is just very public. And obviously the longer too it goes, we've added different elements. Like now we're on camera. So if you were to fall out of your chair back then, nobody could see it.
I would be viral because I fell face first on my out of my chair. And that would have definitely lived on YouTube for a long time.
Absolutely. All right, let's turn it over to the boys next.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Now, we kicked off the show. Taylor had a list of the most exciting players in the SEC in 2025. Lagway certainly among them. Who would you put next? Lenora Sellers? Anybody else?
I mean, yeah, Lenore. Who went viral, by the way? I heard someone talking about someone going
I was saying I would because one of my first updates I ever did, I fell out of my chair mid-update and
But we weren't
the
on
wheels
camera then.
just went out from under me and I fell face first on one of my updates. So I was like, nowadays that would have been on
Talking
camera.
about Liam going viral.
Right. You know what's funny is Molly was doing her update the other day and I said, you know, you're lucky it wasn't like 3 or 4 years. We used to give our boy E so much grief. He'd come and do like the update. And right before he'd go on, like 5 seconds before we go, don't screw it up, man. Don't screw it up. And every time he'd do something, he'd go, man, don't do that to me. So anyway, yeah, back to what you're originally saying. I'm
going to list them real quick. You tell me if you agree with this list.
Arch Manning.
Yep, Arch is on there. Lagway, Lenora Sellers is on there. Ryan Williams is on there. Diego Pavia is on there. Cam Coleman, John Matter, Dylan Stewart.
Yeah.
And Colin Simmons is on here. And then Garrett Nussmeier. Would you put Nussmeier on there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, two of the biggest guys are really Williams and Coleman. If those two programs figure out how to get them the ball. It's ridiculous. Like, Alabama had like almost 900 plays on offense, and Ryan Williams touched the ball, I think, 48 times. Auburn was same thing. Auburn was around 800-something plays, and Coleman touched it less than that, like 40-something.
Yeah, Ryan Williams
probably get your playmakers the ball.
Get him the ball, man.
He's watching the national championship. Like, if only I had a quarterback that would get me the ball the way Jeremiah
no
Smith.
matter what you do, get him. What's what we were saying about Brian Thomas Jr. last second half of the season. Just get him the ball.
Yeah. They'll do the rest. I mean, we see that.
Yeah.
We were talking about the stat yesterday where it was like Mac Jones with throws over 20 yards has, what was
more
it?
interceptions than completions. 6 over 5. Yeah.
And Brian Thomas.
Not even touchdowns, completions.
Yes.
You know what's weird?
And BTJ still did what BTJ did.
Right. In college, he was like, that was what he did.
I know.
The deep ball. So weird. It's not really so weird, but the difference between the two, between college and the NFL is just, wow, mind-boggling.
Absolutely. Will your show be mind-boggling?
This every day. Every day. We got our coach coming in, too, Coach Campbell.
Oh, yeah. You haven't had coach since the announcement that Liam Coen was the next head coach of the Jags.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll get into that. A lot about the draft and about how, I mean, Liam Coen is just getting annihilated.
Poor guy.
Just for one thing,
for
literally doing one thing, like every national pundit on every show is just crushing him.
Meanwhile, listen, Matt, you've been critical of many things the Jacksonville Jaguars have done. You loved everything he had to say.
Yeah.
Starting
with offensive line. Yeah.
Right. Minus this one little blip, but that's what they'll focus on, but that's okay.
That's all Matt heard. He didn't hear the Duval.
He heard
offensive line.
Right.
Once upon a time, all we heard in Dan Campbell's intro presser was biting kneecaps, and that turned out okay.
Right. In fact, if he could have said...
We also did make fun of that.
If he could have said, like, guard at any point, it would have been, like, borderline erotic, actually.
And with that, we'll say goodbye. That's going to do it for us today. We've got a Feel Good Friday for you on tap tomorrow. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. Don't go anywhere. XL Prime Time is next.
Walk all over you.